everyone, welcome to the ELLE Beauty Weekender presented by Tata Click. I'm Sonakshi Sharma, ELLE's beauty writer, and today we are in conversation with three champions of body positivity, Sakshi Sindwani, Spardha Malik, and Savleen Manchanda. How are you guys doing today? Welcome. How are you?
I am doing really well. Tell me all the other beauties. I love Spardha. I've known her for so long. Sakshi also, I've seen her on ramp, scorching the ramp. So I'm doing really well. Tell me, how are you guys doing?
It's a good day. It's a good day today because we're here to talk about something that we're all so passionate about. So this is going to be a good conversation. And I'm actually super excited to have these two beautiful queens who have been such a idol of representation for such a long time. And these guys have been doing, they're the OG queens. They've been doing it for such a long time. So it's such an honor.
That's so sweet.
I'm so happy that I'm part of this conversation with two of my lovely friends who, online, offline, we're always building each other up and, commenting on each other's pictures, telling how hot they look. And it's so nice to have this sort of a relationship. And then we're together here at ELLE talking about it. It's so lovely.
That's great. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. So we're just going to jump right in. What does body positivity mean to you guys?
Do you want to start, Spardha?
Yeah, I'll start. So I think body positivity to me is that when you can look in the mirror and see yourself and your body through your eyes instead of comparing your body with someone else's version of your body or what it should be. So just accepting your body as it is and loving it and not basing love on society's ideas of what a body should be. I think that is body positivity to me.
That's well said. You guys have something to match up to.
No, definitely agree with Spardha when she said, making your own. I personally believe body positivity is making your own kind of standard of beauty. I got recently introduced to the term called body neutrality over body positivity because I just feel like it's such a body neutrality means that you neither feel too positive, like toxic positivity about your own body, or nor do you feel negative. And I think that's something that we all hope to achieve. We don't hope to achieve like this unrealistic standard of positivity about our bodies. At the end of the day, body positivity is so much about growth, right? It's about working on yourself, to truly love yourself, and self-care, self-love. All of these terms kind of derive from a place of growth and actually working on yourself. That for me is body positivity. Now that I think about it, I'm so much more body neutral than body positive on most days, right? At the end of the day, ultimate goal is to be okay with who you are and look at yourself in the mirror and still be okay rather than hating on yourself. I think that's the new definition of body positivity for me.
That's so interesting.
I learned something new
about that.
Yeah. I learned something new, but I must say, Spardha, you said it so beautifully. I completely relate to that. I guess to be really honest, I want to put one thing first, that when you say that we are very passionate about this body positivity, is because we have been, at least I have been dealing about the body issues all my life. So either you succumb to it and become conscious of yourself a lot, or you just, embrace yourself, accept yourself, and just be you. And by just being you, I'm not saying, like, a lot of people, I speak, like, when we talk about body positivity, a lot of people say, oh, are you like saying that you're trying to say that being fat is fine? I'm like, yeah, being fat is fine, but I'm not promoting obesity. I'm not saying that not working out is fine. To speak, especially to younger generation, to let them feel normal. I wish I had these kind of things when I was growing up, to know that I was normal, I was okay. And it's a process with I guess all of us, I guess Spardha, Sakshi, all of us have come through. I'm sure somewhere or the other time, all of us have been bullied in our life, right? And that's when you get the courage that, go for you, guys, like, this is it. I'm going to embrace myself and I know I'm beautiful. And I guess I have this feeling that when a woman comes, completely accepts herself, I'm in terms of body, in terms of color, in terms of anything, the world around her changes. So I guess the beauty starts with you first.
Okay, Savleen, That's it. I think you've got ahead of us, and you've just answered my next question for me. That did you guys personally face any self-image issues? And I think that's such an important thing to say, right? Because sadly there is this stigma around women who are in larger bodies and who are associated with these things, and they have to undergo like bullying, especially in the society that we live in, that's so focused on diet culture and losing weight and of conforming to a certain body type as a female. So what do you guys think about it, Sakshi and Spardha?
Um, okay, so when it comes to like body image issues, I honestly feel like I've had body image issues growing up all my life until very recently when it was actually social media that made me feel more confident about myself. It's crazy. I went on this body positive journey because of the internet. A lot of people say that internet, bullies you, or there's so many haters on the internet, things like that. But being a social media creator, ultimately, I think it were the women on social media. These were strangers who saved me. So I would say that, when I started my YouTube journey back in the day, I was a YouTuber before I became an Instagrammer and a content creator, predominantly on Instagram. It was the people who, they would tell me, you inspire me so much because, you have the confidence to wear certain things that we're not able to wear. So it was it was that community that really enabled me to feel more positive. But being a fat girl, I mean, I've been bullied like all my life. I was badly bullied in school, college, throughout, because people are very fixated on seeing the outer image and how the person looks from the outside. It's not even people's fault ultimately. These are the standards of beauty. These standards have been going on for years, and
Right.
like it's so ingrained in the society that you can't really break free from them. But thankfully now, I mean, including this conversation, we're at least changing and we're bringing more awareness.
Right, we're bringing more to the narrative.
Yes.
um, I have worked over a decade in fashion. And even though I come from a very like supportive, loving family where they've always accepted me and really haven't, I mean, it hasn't been more than a suggestion that, you should get fitter, or you're putting on weight, or like, those are little things that anyway, like you just can't dodge in a, Indian family setup. But
Yeah.
I haven't been nagged or bullied, at least by my own family. Like it would be loving teasing and all that, but it wouldn't be to the point where I felt like, like a lot of people have to really like confront their families and say them, like, tell them that, this is my body and you can't comment on it. So thankfully that didn't happen to me. But obviously all around you, there's so many pictures and images and movies and all kinds of media coverage of the ideal body type. So you can't really dodge it in any way. It's not possible. And working in fashion is like another, like a love-hate relationship with fashion, because I love fashion, but fashion industry doesn't love my body. So finding clothes has been difficult. Working in a magazine, realizing that, oh my God, that's the girl we want to shoot, and this is a real girl that we want to put in the feature section. Like just that distinction that is so prevalent in this industry and just all around us, in movies and cinema, everywhere. Like, so I think it has been very self-inflicted for me, that where I realized that I wasn't the right body type, even though I wasn't really made aware of it so much in my family growing up. But as a fashion girl, it's just like I have been going on like crash diets all my life, doing all kinds of fad, exercises and workout videos and watching what Kim Kardashian eats, stuff like that. But there's a lot of unlearning. There's a lot of unlearning that I have done over the last 4 or 5 years, when I've realized that there's not much I can do about my body, and there isn't. I mean, just to focus on your body is completely wrong. Like, you're so much more than just like what people see. So you just have to accept your body and love it, despite all its many flaws.
No, I completely agree with you. I think the three of you have all spoken about this, that that there are certain standards that we're always told to live up to. You can't be too thin, you can't be too fat, you can't be this, you can't be that. We're always told no, instantly. But there's a point where we get past it, right? And I think,
Yeah.
Spardha, you put it accurately, that there's so much unlearning we've had to do.
Yeah.
We've had to learn, we've had to see and be like, you know what, okay, this has been going on for a while, but this is wrong. This is not the way that we want to live our life, and the future generation should live its life. So the three of you talking about this makes a massive difference. And I know that the three of you have spoken about social media, right? Sakshi said that you know, that the stranger saved you in a sense. That's such a sweet sentiment, especially, you know, when there's so much about social media, that it's bullying and there's so much negativity online. It's a toxic space. So I want to ask you three, do you think that this conversation that we're having translates off social media into reality, or does it kind of just fit in that box and stays there?
It should and it must. I mean, go beyond social media. I mean, you can't expect everyone to just change around you one day. You have to take the first step, and whether it's just talking to your friends and family and like people around you and checking them when they comment on your body and like, hello, you're not allowed to talk about my body, whether you're saying a good thing or a bad thing. Just talking about someone's body is wrong, because everyone's more than what they look. And I mean, it's such a toxic culture that we have, that we praise people for when oh, you're looking thin today. Oh, have you lost weight? Like, come on, how can you say that to someone? That's just so wrong to ask someone, have you put on weight or have you lost weight? Like, what the fuck do you have to, sorry.
That's okay. No,
I feel you.
Passionate about it. Expletive. Anyway, so I mean, you're so used to people discussing body in India, especially. I mean, in our surroundings, it's so much more. That, I mean, you have to check yourself that you don't pass it on to someone. You don't tell your sister, your friend, someone that, hey, like, you're looking great today. Have you lost weight? Like, looking great should not be equal to thin or like the ideal body type, or big boobs, big butt, tall, fair, whatever. You have to disassociate people's general looks, and we have to start with ourselves, our peers, our friends, our family, our colleagues, and that's the only way it's going to happen. Social media is not going to take care of it all by itself.
Right. So, Savleen, what do you think about it? Do you think that it translates to reality then?
It definitely, it should, as Spardha said, and I completely agree with you that, you know, some certain things are so normalized in our life. We didn't even realize for the longest time that those things were wrong, like what she said about the body, or at times, you know, you being the fat funny person, the person will just, the friends just say some stupid things which they don't even realize, and they don't mean any harm, but they just say it like, ha ha ha, like, you know, oh, you're looking like this, or you're looking like that, and often we also laugh at it, and we made it so normalized that, dude, like, if I'm fat, so if they say it, it's not a bad deal, right? It's just the way it is. But then I remember the shift in me, and I remember same thing what Spardha said, that educating them, because somewhere I am also responsible, because when they said these things, I also laughed with them on myself, just because it's convenient to laugh, and then you know, and then you're like, you know what, ha ha ha, it's so normal. And then when I felt this is not right, rather than being aggressive about it, I just told them that, listen guys, like, I understand that where it's coming from, and I know that you don't mean me any harm, but I'd really appreciate if you'll stop using these terminologies with me. And I know I'd really appreciate, you know, that every time I sat on the table or something, and you're giving me this divine intervention where they tell you, you know, like, this is what you need to do in your life. It shouldn't be about my weight, and you know, I can handle myself. I just need you to accept me for who I am, because I do. And that especially goes, like, Spardha, you're really lucky, but I have had a family who loved me the most, but at the same time, they really badly wanted me to get thin, because I have sisters who were like super, super skinny. And then that becomes difficult, because your sister is so skinny, and then you're the opposite extreme. So it is so much unlearning to do, and I'm so happy that this conversation is not only on this platform. In fact, I have seen this conversation going offline too, which I feel is extremely important. And I have seen people who were blurting out things not in a very hurtful way. They just say it as a joke, but they don't realize that we are listening to this joke for so long that it's not cool anymore, and they're conscious about it. They're making that shift, and I think that's what's the most important part.
So Sakshi, do you think that this calling out nature then helps in a way?
I'm gonna actually answer to the first part of the question. I honestly, because I have to mention this point, and I think
Yeah.
more people become aware about it. I think the conversation has shifted. It has, and it hasn't shifted offline. I think a lot of people are a lot more kinder on social media. The people like not the haters, but the people who like to compliment. They would compliment so easily on social media on somebody's post. You're looking beautiful, looking sweet, but people won't say it to each other's faces. And if somebody's like Spardha said, like if somebody's lost weight, it almost like becomes a celebration, which
Exactly.
I think people would become like a little more a kinder offline as they are online for most of us, you know.
Yeah.
So we're so generous with giving compliments and like shouting each other on, and then when we meet in real life, you wouldn't even believe how much just you're looking amazing. I think you have such a flush glow on your skin, things like that, small little compliments would make such a huge difference.
Right.
And I feel
Yeah,
like
I agree with that.
at least conversation is starting, like Savleen said, like at least people are becoming aware about it, and I think that's the first step. But you have to also understand that it's years of unlearning. We weren't
Yeah.
even born like it's been going on for so many years and decades that at this point we can't really. And body positivity has really become a conversation, sort of a trend since the last 3 years. It was
Yes.
a conversation before that. People would
Yeah.
not even, it's not like fat people didn't exist then or plus size people didn't exist then
Right.
and plus size brands didn't exist then. It's just that people have thankfully to the creators, the digital media, people have started seeing real bodies more and real people more come in the limelight. That's why this conversation has started. But you also have to understand that body positivity and body neutrality, all of these things are not trends. It's a reality for most of us and we're living that life.
Yeah.
So that. What was your second question? Sorry.
No, I'm going to take a moment to acknowledge this because everything that you said is, I feel like I have learned a lot from the three of you. But like, this is so much to process because you guys are right all the time. It's so easy. Like Sakshi, you said, you can comment, like we all do it, comment on each other's posts. Oh God, you're looking so fabulous, my queen, so pretty, all of that. And then when you meet in person, the person's going to be like, oh, hey, what's up? And then they just, it's gone. So that was like my key point here, that the translation is kind of a big journey in itself, that we're trying to get there, where it just doesn't stop in a social media bubble. As much as that conversation is very important, and social media has pushed us to acknowledge all of this, to accept all of this, and have this platform that we can use. But that's what I'm saying, that the translation to reality is very key. It's right at the top. So thank you for saying that. I think that helps a lot of us and a lot of people who are watching, because please think about what you say and think about people, like you said, that it's a reality.
I just have to say this: when women compliment other women, it hits a different space.
Yeah.
I don't want no
Yeah,
compliments from
yeah.
a man telling me I'm hot. I want the next girl to tell me I'm hot. I don't want the next person to tell me, oh, you're so cute, you're so like chubby, and you're so like this. I'm done with those compliments. I want to be like big and sexy in the same line.
Yeah.
We need to change that fucking narrative.
Amen. I agree with you. So I'm going to say that right now, you guys are gorgeous and hot and intelligent and smart, because those are all equally important. I don't think
Yeah.
we should be placing, these labels that intelligence is going to be more superior than the other, because then you're calling something else inferior, right? If you're saying that
Yeah.
intelligence is superior, then you're saying your body types then become inferior. So why? There has to be that balance, right?
Yeah, you're
Compliment
all of
everything.
these things. You're not one thing. You're a number of things. You can be intelligent and beautiful and hot. And,
Exactly. Those don't have to be isolated.
absolutely.
So yeah, Sakshi,
Wow.
you asked me the second thing I'd said was, in terms of these issues that have happened. Do you think calling out, the three of you, do you think that calling out is then a good approach to take? Like when friends make fun of you, or even if something at a family dinner is said in a very off track conversation, but that, okay, you know what, it hurt me because you're not thinking what you're saying. Do you think then that calling out makes sense?
I think public calling out is a bad idea, because
Yeah.
then people go in that mega defensive mode where they're like, oh no, then they'll crack more jokes and be like, "Arey, tu moti hai, tu kyun bura maan rahi hai?" Like they'll go in that zone, "Tu itni choti si cheez ka kyun bura maan rahi hai?" Like the people like become super defensive about it, and then they'll make past remarks which will hurt you even more. So I feel like you need to be mature enough to also understand, like Savleen said, they're coming from a place of so much conditioning that it's difficult for them to understand. And for some people, it's not a big deal. Like for them to call you fat or moti or bhains and stuff like that, like, these remarks, it's not a big
Yeah.
deal. For them, it's such a normal thing. And they almost, like, you'll see people, they're surprised when you tell them that you're getting offended by it and it's wrong, because they
Yeah.
don't see it as wrong. So you need to, like, tell them and have a personal conversation. I don't know if this comes under the category of calling out or just like a
Yeah.
regular conversation, but you need to, like, personally go and talk to them about why this is wrong and why this hurts you. Because when you have this conversation personally one-on-one where nobody else is watching, it tends to leave a much bigger impact, and I think they'll change for the better.
Right. So what do you think, Savleen? Do you think that's a good idea, having these conversations in private then?
I have been through a lot. I have called out people, but I will say that calling out is not the right term. I'll say educating is the right more term. Calling out means that you'll say, "Hey, ऐसे कैसे बोल सकती है यार?" No, I'll say,
Okay.
guys, I will laugh at with them, and I'm saying that, listen, but it's funny, but I want to know. This is the conversation I've had. So I'm like, I said, but I want to know why it's funny. Like, why me comparing to mammal is funny? Why? And then all those people who have said it will actually give it a thought, and they'll say, oh, like, we didn't realize and we are sorry. So calling out doesn't mean that being aggressive about it. Calling out also means that you can have a very calm conversation about it. You can actually ask them question which makes them think about their action, and they 99% of time, because they're your friends, right? So
Yeah.
they're sensitive about you too. So they understand where you're coming from, and they say that, and because and I tell them, I'm like, please don't mind it, because I'm also unlearning these things, because all my life I've also been okay with these kind of jokes about myself. I used to
Yeah.
crack these jokes about myself. So I am also learning, and I want you also to learn, so that tomorrow anyone, either of your child, will also going through this situation. We should know how to address this properly and rightfully, because otherwise it gives you scars for life. Like, otherwise it gives you issues for life. So I'm
Yeah.
like, why not do it right now? And trust me, I have realized mostly people, because we are all educated people, we all believe in sensitivity, so we all walk that little extra mile, and we understand. So
Right.
touch wood, like, I've never got a really bad experience whenever, but because also I feel that the key is not to be aggressive. The key is to calmly educate them, because you're also learning. You have to realize that. I'm also learning that this is not cool. So I'm also teaching them that, guys, I think this is not cool, and why I think this is not cool. So mostly people say, okay, as long as you don't make it sound like, "Arey, tune kaise kaha?" Then it becomes defense mode, as Sakshi said. Then they're like, "Arey, this is तो तू ही बोलती थी ऐसे." So that is when I agree. Like educating them is more important than calling out.
Okay, so Spardha, what road would you take? Would you then, okay, calling it out would then have a negative connotation, right? From what I'm hearing, because then you would be like, why did you say that to me? And then the person would then become very defensive. And then there's the constructive criticism road. Which one would you pick?
I mean, I'm a real human being. I have picked both roads. I would want to have an honest conversation with people, but sometimes you're just so badly hurt by some comments which are, which are meant to hurt you. They're not because someone's trying to put you down or show you your place, how you don't belong in a certain environment or whatever, or is looking at you like you're lesser than. And in that, I mean, I won't say it's calling out, but it's standing up for yourself. Like in a
Exactly.
situation where you can, you have to rise up to the other people. I mean, rise up to the authority or someone who is, controlling the room and is calling you something. You have to stand up for yourself, or for that matter, stand up for someone else also. Like you may be in a position where you can help someone else, and they're being, dragged to the mud because of whatever society's beliefs of beauty are. You have to stand up to those people. But that being said, I mean, I would say mostly when it's possible, I would like to take the higher road and have a conversation with the person and educate them, like the girl said. But sometimes you just have to be loud and proud and stand up for
No,
yourself.
I completely agree with you. I think you've given us a good balance. You've given us, especially like the calling of it in a negative connotation, and then taking the criticism, constructive criticism road, and then
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to own it and be like, you know what, that's it. That's where I draw the line. So I think
Yeah.
all of these are, and especially because they're coming from such subjective and personal spaces from the three of you, they make perfect sense for all the women and all the people. I won't even say women. In fact, even men, if in that sense, are bullied in that sense. It's a good conversation because for them, then it's good to know that, okay, it's very subjective for everyone. You can't just put a blanket over something or put an umbrella over it and say, yes,
Absolutely.
sahi hai, ye galat hai, right? So that kind of becomes an interesting topic to ponder over. And hopefully, like, people can introspect after this, and especially people who've, been at the end of receiving end of these things, they can feel better about that.
You know, it's funny. It's actually very important that you mentioned that it's not funny at all, but it's so important that you mentioned that men face this. And in my experience, the kind of bullying, body shaming that men face, it's so bad. It's terrible. It's terrible for them because they don't just face it in their inner circle. They face it at work. They face it. They're just like. I think the alienation is just like they're completely like alienated from the rest of the crew if the men are obese. It's ridiculous for them, and I think we need to stand up for men too, because we've been standing up for women so much that we're completely forgetting about having these conversations. Men, I don't know why this conversation needs to start. I think this is a great platform to kind of incite men also. I've been on so many of these panels. None of the men were there. We're talking about women. I understand from where we're coming from, but like it's also so important for men to kind of have these conversations and bring about awareness about their bullying stories, because it's been a lot, and I don't think enough men are speaking up about body shaming.
No, I completely agree with you, because especially that's why I said, because immediately, I think as a human being in the 21st century, our immediate reflex to something is label it. Label it, say, okay, this is for women, this is for men, this is the gender, then we leave out the people outside the binary, we leave out an entire community, which is the LGBTQIA+, and then we're just putting labels again and again on top of the other. No one's actually stopping and thinking, you know what, even if it's 4 women or 5 women or however many women having a conversation about a topic, it can include anybody from any part of the world, any background, any race, any color. Because at the end of the day, we have that in common, right? We're kind of bonded in that sense that we all have bodies, we're all bonded in that way. We all have that dignity, self-respect, love, care in our lives. So this conversation, Sakshi, you rightly said that it's high time that men also had it. But hopefully the 4 women here can cite another panel to come up where they can talk about this. And hopefully
Sorry, but I have to. I'm so sorry. This was coming from a very privileged place. When I said men have to talk about it, I completely meant your non-binary, your LGBTQ plus community. Like everybody should talk about it, not
exactly. No, I completely agree with you. That's why I think that it's good to acknowledge these things, because when we do it at a platform like this, then hopefully the conversation becomes easier in a lot of houses. Right. So moving from that point, my next question to you would be media. The mainstream media has conformed dimensions. This is the box. This is how you fit in it. This is your waist size, your whatever size, and this is what you do. Do you guys think that that's changing now? Because Sakshi, you said a little while ago that this has become a trend, and for most people, it's a reality. So, do you think that that conversation has come to a point where it's changing, especially in the media? The three of you. Anyone who wants to go first?
it's not change. I mean, it's changing, but it's not changing to like it's not changing drastically. I mean, I still come across because I'm also a model. I model for a lot of campaigns and designers, and I walk at fashion weeks. I know for a fact that being on the thinner side of plus size,
Mhm.
like being a size 16 girl, I know for a fact that a lot of plus size women are ignored because then you become too fat for fashion. Then
Yeah.
all of these conversations are not really becoming body positive. Like in the industry has still such a long way to go in being
Mhm.
truly inclusive. When we talk about inclusivity, we can't really pick out again the thinner girls who are slightly who's slightly chubby to represent your brand. Like you need to also change the idea of inclusivity, right? And you need to show more representation. Are we going in the right direction? Yes, but are we there yet? Far from it, far from it. So I think there's a long way. Again, like body positivity has, it's still very much trending, but it's a good kind of trend. Like this is the kind of trend that's been going on for the last solid 3 years, and
Yeah.
I see it continue to. But like it's also important for publications. It's also so important for people to continue this conversation, because they also have to realize that we still have such a long way to go.
Right. Savleen, what do you think about that?
I wanted to say that first of all, yes, I agree with Sakshi when she says that it has started, but it has not rightfully been given the space and the effort which it should. For an example, the biggest influence which when we are growing up is television, right? We all see television. You'll always see a fat. First of all, in 90s when I was growing up, the fat girl was always the evil girl. The fat girl was always a joke. Like it was always when a guy had to make fun about, he will go and ask a fat girl, and the fat girl will be represented in the most derogatory way, like in the most absurd way, where
Mhm.
they put like fat girl is ugly, you know what I mean? And then you
Yeah.
feel like this is not how I want to look in my life. Now it has changed, but it has changed to a fat girl because it's a trend. They have made it heroine's best friend. She is a best friend who is supporting her, who is taking her out of those dark times, but she's a best friend. She's still not a main heroine. She's still not a lead character. So to come to the lead character, to realize that this woman actually can be fallen in love with, this woman actually is as good as any other woman
Mhm.
and can be fallen in love with easily, because this
Mhm.
woman has so much to offer, is
Yeah.
something we need to come. It's very easily because भाई trend है तो चलो इस पे तुम मान लो best friend बना दो उसको. तो नहीं, I am happy to be a best friend because at least I'm not that ugly friend anymore, but I also very rightfully want to be the lead character. Like I have seen people, I've seen some fabulous people, and they, if you want to be a lead character, you have to lose weight. So like it's not fair. Same with modeling. Uh,
Yeah.
like as long as all these brands will say, "Oh, we are size inclusive," in which they mean that they have 10 garments, and
Yeah.
out of 2 garments will have XL, double XL. Rest, क्या करना है? It looks good on skinny people, so we don't need to. That is really bad. So many
Mhm.
campaigns I see that they will show girls who are fat will be fully covered because we are not supposed to show our skin. We are not supposed to look sexy. Why? Because those are meant for excess, maximum to maximum, medium and large. That is the boundary they don't want to cross. Kyun bhai? Like, I want to buy that dress. I'm paying you a damn money. Give it to me. But no, I've seen so many brands doing this and it's hurting at times. Like, I remember when I was young and I promised myself that if I earn enough money, I'll make a very sexy line for girls of my size who wants to feel sexy, but they don't have a fucking way to go about it. And
Mhm.
that's really sad. So I'll say, ki, yeah,
So like
it's
a curve
gone
curation.
ahead. Sorry.
So like a curve curation. I've just come up
Like
with
a
a name.
curve curation, exactly.
Yeah.
So I will say that we have come a long way, but it's not where we should be. Long way to go. So because it's a trend, it's helping us, but I feel that we are more than a trend. We, exactly how Sakshi said, this is a lifestyle. This is how people are. This is how people exist in life. So this is more than a trend.
Spardha, what do you think?
I think that, I mean, what the girl said is so true that we're very, very far from actually having made some big change in the world where, curvy girls are at par with like every other normal girl. I feel like that in fashion and again, it's a trend in fashion and maybe to some extent in films, but I will believe that we've made some real progress when I can go into a store and find my size readily available on a designer rack or just any other store like any other girlfriend. Like all my life I have shuddered at the thought of going shopping with like my skinny friends because I know they'll all have like thousands of options to try on and I'll have like maybe two ugly black frumpy dresses hanging in the back which maybe will fit me. So till the time we don't reach that point where I can walk into a store and find many, many beautiful options for me like the other girls, I don't think we've made any real progress.
Absolutely.
That's like, I'm speechless. Can you see? Okay, no, I think you guys are making such valid points in these things, yeah, because I feel like we don't have these conversations. At least for me, I can personally say I've been around my fair share of people and I've seen these kind of things, but we've never had these conversations, because it's always about the same old stuff and cracking those same old jokes. And Savleen, you said a very interesting thing. You said that in the 90s, it used to be like fat used to be on the side, right? So
Yeah.
there's also a negative association that we've established with fat. That's
Yeah.
always, we've always had to stop and think, okay, hold on. Now the trend is here, so let's just make it the best friend. Like you've said it perfectly. And now people are always going to hop on it. They're going to do things that benefit the brand, that benefit the tokenism, if I may. But and that's going to be it. Because that will be like, okay, you know what? We've included one curvy girl, and like Sakshi said, not the too fat one, the one with like maybe size 10 or 12. Like that's about it. And then that's gonna be done. Like that's our tokenism done for the year, and we're good.
But I have to comment on this as well. Sorry, I'm like speaking too much, but like I have been seeing so many homegrown and new brands standing up and not taking tokenism as an answer. Like they're showing complete sizes, and like they should be the inspiration for like bigger designers, because if these smaller homegrown brands have the capacity to do that, and then bigger designers go online and talk how their production charges increases to give, like, how plus sizes are a little more expensive than your regular sizes. Like so many brands used to do that. Now brands are like moving towards not doing that, but it still so happened. And now just to combat that, if you're like putting that one plus size girl in part of your campaign, I've been in those campaigns. I can say that I'm very grateful that I've been able to at least start that conversation for a few of those brands. But still, like I said, it's still such a long way to go, and we should aspire to reach a place where at least not just showing like plus size. Why aren't we showing the other extreme where people are too thin, petite sizing, shorter height, like we're giving such like fruit names to different body types, where you're an apple, you're a pear, you're like this and that, you're a rectangle. Like you're making us like basically like you're giving us fruit names, but add those fruit names in your campaigns. I want to see like an apple sized or a pear shaped body, like in the campaigns. I want to see myself. I think people are just done with like seeing a certain kind of a body type which represents, I mean, a very small fraction of the society. And also, designers know that their TG is not this. Like their main customers are actually bigger sized bodies, because most of the people in India are curvy. So it's anyway, your size 6, your size 4 is not the Indian size any which way. So if your customers are bigger, show them what your clothes can look like on bigger bodies.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. And I just want to add to one thing you've just said, that, when we give these labels, pear, avocado, or whatever, but I think that stems from a place where we pretend to associate something that we don't understand with something that we do. So, it's always like a sort of a psychological response. When you look at something and you don't understand it, your immediate reaction will be to shun it. Like, listen, no, I don't get this. Let's push this aside. But when the trends come, when the conversations come, when people start having these important discussions, then we start associating those words to stuff like, let's say you're fat, to then the pear shape, the avocado shape, or all of that, because then that makes sense in the head. So you know what? Okay, so ऐसे भी bodies हैं, rather than just simply accepting कि hello, it's a body. Anyone can have it however they want. They can be too short, too tall. They can be perfectly average sized. We're just gonna label it. We're gonna put a stamp on it, seal it, and be like, now you fit. Okay, now we'll work on this.
Ultimately, bodies are to hold your organs. I think people need to like realize that you're not like it's not a prized possession. Like it's not a trophy that you're born with it. Like what can you do? You can change it a little bit, but
absolutely
more than that, like it's still like it keeps you alive. Let's keep it at that.
I agree with you. And that brings me to my last question, ladies. What is the one advice you would give women watching or men watching or anybody from the LGBTQIA plus community watching who suffer from body issues or self-image issues, you can go one after the other. One advice only.
Okay, I'll start. I'm going to give you very, very simple, easy advice. It's not something hard, like heavy, light. I feel like if we all just stopped deleting pictures of ourselves where we look ugly, like just something small, like your friend takes a picture of you from an angle you're not used to, and you're like, oh no, like suddenly I see the side of my stomach I did not know existed, or the lump on my back, I didn't know was there. And you instantly delete that picture. I feel like if you just keep that picture in your phone and look at it a few times, you will probably start accepting your body. I think this is one thing that happened to me when I started taking pictures of myself and started posting it on a blog when I was a blogger, and then on Instagram, on social media, on Facebook, whatever. And people think it comes from a place of vanity, where I think I'm so beautiful that I want to put my face everywhere. But I've learned to find beauty in myself by not deleting my pictures, by thinking that, okay, you know what, I'm just going to post it and let's see what happens. Like, what, the earth's not going to like shatter just because, a fat girl decided to put a picture on the internet or something like that. I just feel like if you just stop deleting ugly pictures of yourself and start to accept your body, it's just this very, very small exercise. Do it for a month and don't delete any of the pictures. In fact, start posting them, or, letting people post them on their Instagram or their stories or whatever. Just a small exercise, and I think it will change your self-image, like how you perceive yourself.
I'm going to try that. That's very constructive. Thank you so much.
I must say, this is very brave point. I mean, it's extremely brave what you're saying. Because forget about body positivity. I guess we all are so, being a girl, forget, even if you're skinny, even if you're fat, I've never seen a girl clicking a picture and saying, "Arey, first go, this is the best picture." And like, main to badi khush hu. We all analyze the pictures too much, but this is a very brave thing, and I must say this is a great exercise. Great. Like, I'm definitely gonna do it. I'm gonna tag you on Spardha. So one comment, I have to get good one.
So, okay, what would your advice be then, since you're speaking?
My advice will be very cliche. I'm cliche. So I'll just say, embrace yourself. It's very easy and it's very tough, because you don't have to think about what other people say. It's a long journey, but trust me, just embrace yourself. No, nothing. Kuch bhi kar lo, just embrace yourself. What I used to do is, I remember I was at a shoot and Anita said something which hit me, and I was like, wow, that is true. So we were at the shoot and Anita said that, that you are in a comfortable body when you're naked and you love your body. And I'm like, that's right. Because span ke to meko bhi khushi mil jati hai, sab chala gaya. But when you're naked, when you have nothing to hide, then is the time when you feel like, I love my body or not. And trust you me, so I started doing it as whether I do or not. So you stand in front of the mirror. It's very stupid. It feels very stupid, but it worked wonders for me at least. So I was like, like this, but I don't know how, when the switch happens, then I felt I'm also a little narcissistic. So I felt that मैं तो बहुत सुंदर लग रही हूँ. I genuinely feel that I'm बहुत सुंदर लग रही हूँ, and somehow that I'll tell you, it made a difference, because I never used to buy certain kind of dresses, and I started buying them because I was like, fuck it, like if I look good and naked, I'll kill it in this dress. So that kind of transformed. And one more, I know that this is for all girls, all boys, all like LGBTQI+, but one advice for men I really want to give: if you are a friend of any friend, even if you're a girl, even if you're boys, to friends basically, I want to give this: support your friend. There will be a time when we will be in doubt. There will be a time when I have felt that I'm not going to look good in this dress. And I have such beautiful set of friends who have pumped me up to the level. Not like, okay, let me tell you one thing, Sakshi. You walked for Shivan and Naresh. first time, I still remember wearing that black bikini thing. And I saw her and I was like, oh my God, like she's skinnier than me, but if she's killing it, same what you said, I'm going to kill it. But in my head, I thought, and wo thought chala gaya. Then this year, Shiv and Irish, we were at the birthday and they got me my first actually 2 pieces, like my bikini set. And then I'm like, no guys, I'm no way on earth I'm going to
I
do it.
loved you in that.
No ways on earth. And trust me, those two, like all my friends, I'm so blessed. I feel that sometimes you lose your power because you just don't, you're conditioned also since childhood, you're bullied also since childhood, you are also learning, but you are not like ekdam se ki bas main to, there are times when you feel conscious about yourself. So I'm like, no, I don't think so.
All the time, right? You can't just feel good about yourself all the time.
Exactly. And then those people pumped me up so much that I was like, okay, fine, let me just wear it and like, fuck it, bro. And then I just wore it. And I'm like, achhi to lag rahi hu main. And then people click pictures and they're like, you have to post it. So I'm like, no, I'm not posting it. And I always believe, Spardha, I've been doing this, that whenever my friends post picture, even if I look bad, I let them be. I'm like, because I have 10,000 good pictures also. So two bad pictures, it's okay. So
it's good.
That
Those
picture has
bad
got me
pictures
so much of confidence. Like so many people send that picture to me, like, oh my God, looking at you, I also want to buy, or looking at you, this. And I'm like, you know what? I'm being too harsh on myself and on my body. I need to love it a little more. Like, you didn't realize that, I did not realize that I wasn't doing something which, so I feel a specific request, like a tip to friends, that be there for your friends, push them in the most supporting way, lift them up when they need it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for saying that. Sakshi, wanna give us your 2 thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to 2 thoughts. I think I'm gonna stick to more than 2 thoughts, but I have to say, like, the first thing is that it gets better. It just does. Start seeing things. When you see things, you start believing in it more. So start now that you are, you have such easy access to digital media. There's so many incredible women and men, and so many other people who are creating such body positive content that make you feel better about yourself. Start seeing them and following them, because it just genuinely makes a difference. It makes a difference to me. I have, it might be a little controversial, but I am so good with blocking people and unfriending them if they're not giving me, those positive vibes about my body. It's just a practice that I've started doing since the last 2-3 years, and it's definitely changed my entire life, because now I see women accepting their bodies, and if I see them, it just makes me feel more confident. And ultimately, like Savleen thought, like, I inspired her to wear this swimsuit. So many people inspire me to wear a lot of different things. So it's like a cycle. If you all start doing that, world would be a better place. And affirmations have helped me, saved me. And I don't mean by those traditional affirmations, you're beautiful, you're loved, you're sexy, you're like, not your general affirmations that might work for some of them, but for me, my affirmations are so everyday. Like, for example, I wake up a certain day and I have to wear this like this particular garment where my back is going to be showing and it's a backless. I tell myself in the mirror that your back rolls are beautiful. Like, make sure that it's personal to every single day, and it's so much more personal to you. So when you say it out loud in the mirror and you look at yourself, that's a different kind of energy, because you're telling yourself. And when you create that sort of a boundary around you, nothing can penetrate it, because you protect your own energy. And I think that's very important. And I think young girls, young men, they need to understand that it's so difficult, but it's so important to protect that energy. And self-care doesn't happen in an instant. It took us, I'm 25 years old, and I'm still not the most body positive person. I'm still working every single day. There are people who are like 50 years old, 60 years old. My mother is still battling a lot of the things, So the body positive journey doesn't truly end, and you don't reach that magical place where you think everything is going to be just right. You have to at least go on that journey, because that journey in itself is so beautiful. So once you like head in that right direction, everything else pretty much is sorted for you. And trust your journey, trust and believe in yourself. And of course, cut out the toxic people who are constantly telling you need to gain weight, or you need to lose weight, and you need to look differently to be more accepted. You're accepted anyway.
Guys, I feel like I'm just filled with this, I'm empowered and like I can just feel it. It's like a good feeling, when your vibes kind of get good. Like you said, so actually that energy, if you build it around you, then that gets fun. That's when it starts building up and you know that, what, I can do this. I think that's such wise words coming from the three of you. Spardha, Sakshi, Savleen, thank you so much. I feel like personally I've learned 20, maybe more years worth of stuff from you guys, from your experience, from everything that you guys have taught me today. And I hope everyone else too, because it is, and I'm not saying this because, well, cliches work for a reason. I always say that. Never apologize for saying a cliche because it got there because of a reason. It works, right? So this conversation is essential and it's important that we keep having it year after year, trend or not, whatever the season, whatever the labels or stuff that people are going to keep putting on us meaning humans, not putting any labels here. We have to keep going. And these advices, I hope, really help everyone. So thank you so very much for taking out the time today and speaking to me. I've loved speaking to you all and I hope you guys had fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such an important conversation to have, and I'm glad magazines like Elle are doing it for us. Thank you so much for making me a part of it.
We have each other's back, right? That's what you said. When a woman compliments you, you feel like, you know what? Yes, queen, bring it.
It hits different.
It hits different. Oh my God, yes.
Keep having those conversations. We got each other's backs on that. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.